the heart of a city that never sleeps, where shadows cling to every corner, a peculiar facility stood abandoned. Its sign, faded and rusted, read NeuroLab unlocking the mind's potential. Yet the whispers of the neighborhood told a different story, one of madness, experiments gone wrong, and the echoing screams of forgotten souls. Tonight, as the clock struck midnight, a group of 4 friends, Jess, Mark, Lily, and Tom, decided to explore the eerie remnants of the NeuroLab, drawn by tales of strange occurrences and the promise of a thrill. They crept through the cracked entrance, flashlights flickering uncertainly in the dark, illuminating peeling walls and shattered glass. "Guys, this place gives me the creeps," Jess said, her voice barely a whisper. "Creepy is exactly what we came for," Mark replied, trying to sound brave while his hands trembled slightly. As they moved deeper into the building, strange sensations clawed at their minds. The air felt thick, almost electric. Their flashlights revealed bizarre murals on the walls, surreal images of twisted faces and distorted bodies, as if someone had tried to capture the essence of fear itself. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the upper floors. The friends exchanged worried glances, but curiosity pulled them forward. They ascended the staircase, the wooden steps creaking ominously beneath their weight. Each step felt like a descent into madness. On the second floor, they found a room filled with old medical equipment, rusted scalpels, tattered journals, and a strange device that looked like a cross between a helmet and a torture device. It was labeled Consciousness Extractor. "What the hell is this?" Tom asked, holding the device up as if it were a trophy of horror. Mark flipped through one of the journals, his face paling as he read aloud. Subjects reported vivid hallucinations, the inability to distinguish reality from dreams, death in extreme cases. Lily shuddered. "Let's get out of here. This is wrong." But something drew them deeper into the facility, a force not entirely of their own making. They stumbled upon a room filled with mirrors, their reflections distorted and grotesque. Each reflection seemed to twist and turn, showing them not who they were, but who they could become. "Look at this!" Jess exclaimed, pointing to a mirror showing her as a gaunt, hollow-eyed version of herself, a haunting smile etched across her face. "What is happening?" Mark, transfixed by his own reflection, saw himself in a suit made of flesh, the skin stretched tight, laughter echoing around him. "It's just a trick of the light," he muttered, trying to convince himself. Suddenly, the mirrors began to ripple, like water disturbed by unseen hands. The reflections reached out, their hands pressing against the glass, beckoning the friends forward, whispering their darkest fears. Lily screamed as her mirror self shattered, and shards flew, cutting her arm. "Run!" Tom shouted, pulling Lily back. Blood dripped from her wound, and with it something strange began to happen. The blood shimmered, glowing faintly as it hit the floor, and the air turned thick with a sweet, sickly scent, intoxicating yet repulsive. The friends fled down the hall, the whispers growing louder, filling their heads with visions of what could, bindless possibilities that twisted into nightmares. They reached a large, sterile room, the walls lined with screens displaying chaotic images of human minds unraveling, their thoughts laid bare like open books. "What is this place?" Jess gasped, her heart racing. Mark, still clutching the journal, looked horrified. This was a place of experimentation. They were trying to map consciousness, but it turned into something else. A low hum filled the air, and the center of the room lit up, revealing a large circular device, a vortex pulsing with energy. It seemed to beckon them closer. "We have to get out," Lily cried, but her voice was drowned out by the device's increasing roar. Compelled by an unseen force, they approached the vortex. It shimmered, showing glimpses of other worlds, twisted realities, grotesque versions of themselves living out lives of horror and despair. Mark stepped forward, entranced. What if we could see beyond? What if we could understand? "Are you insane?" Jess shouted, pulling him back. That's the madness they talked about, but it was too late. The vortex surged, pulling Mark in. Screams filled the room as the others tried to hold on to him, but the energy was too strong. In an instant he was gone, swallowed by the darkness. "Mark," they cried, but his voice echoed back, distorted and fragmented. "You'll never know the truth until you join me." Panic ensued as the device began to draw them in too. Tom and Lily struggled against the pull, but Jess stood frozen, staring into the vortex, seeing her own reflection smile back at her from the depths. Jess, don't! Lily shouted, pulling her friend back, but Jess felt a strange calm wash over her. What if I want to know? She whispered, and before anyone could stop her, she stepped forward. The moment she did, the room exploded with light, and everything went dark. When the darkness faded, Jess found herself alone, standing in a twisted version of the NeuroLab, where the walls bled shadows and whispers filled the air. The reflections of her friends were everywhere, trapped in mirrors, their faces contorted in terror. Welcome to the truth, Jess, a voice echoed from the shadows. It was Mark, but he looked different, his eyes hollow, skin stretched tight. You wanted to understand, didn't you? She stepped back, horrified. What have you become? I'm free, Jess. Free to see the layers of reality, the madness that lies beneath. But you're just beginning. As Jess turned to flee, she realized the mirrors were no longer reflections, but gateways to other worlds, each one promising knowledge, but at a horrifying cost. She felt the pull, the urge to explore, to understand the fear that now coursed through her veins. You can join us, Jess, Mark continued, his voice dripping with an eerie calm. We have seen things, unfathomable truths that will change everything you know. You can be one of us. No, she shouted, fighting the compulsion, but her feet felt rooted to the ground as the shadows danced around her, whispering secrets that tickled her mind and ignited her curiosity. Suddenly, the air grew thick with a palpable energy, and from the mirrors, her friends began to emerge, their forms shifting between reality and illusion. Tom stepped forward, his face twisted in anguish. Jess, we're trapped. You have to help us. Help, she echoed, feeling the weight of despair pressing down on her. How can I help when I can't even help myself? Stop fighting it, Lily cried, her voice now a haunting plea. Embrace it. Only then can we be free. Jess' heart raced as she looked from one distorted reflection to another. Each face mirrored her own terror, yet there was something alluring in their despair. She could almost hear the seductive call of the vortex, the promise of understanding, knowledge, and power. What do I have to do? Jess whispered, her voice barely audible. Step into the mirror, Mark urged, his form flickering like a candle in the wind. Join us in this new reality. It's the only way to escape this madness. In that moment, Jess felt the boundaries of her mind begin to fray. The allure of the unknown beckoned her like a siren's song. She could hear the echoes of countless souls, each one lost yet yearning for connection. With a deep breath, she took a step toward the mirror, her heart pounding. The moment her fingers touched the glass, it rippled like liquid, and she felt a surge of energy coursing through her. The world around her began to dissolve, and she could see glimpses of other realities, her friends living lives of both horror and beauty, each one a reflection of the choices they made. Welcome, Jess, the voice of the shadows whispered. You are one of us now. As she crossed the threshold, the last remnants of her old self faded away, and she was enveloped in a kaleidoscope of colors and sensations. Fear, joy, pain, and ecstasy intertwined, and for the first time she felt truly alive. Yet as the vision settled, Jess realized the price of her choice. The shadows around her danced, and the laughter of her friends echoed through the corridors of her mind. They were with her, yet they were lost, trapped in a reality where knowledge came at a terrible cost. Are you ready to explore? Mark's hollow voice asked, now a part of the whispers that surrounded her. Yes, Jess breathed, her spirit entwined with the madness of the NeuroLab. I want to know it all. And in that moment, she understood curiosity and fear were two sides of the same coin, and she was now a part of the never-ending cycle of experimental horror. As she journeyed through the twisted dimensions of thought and imagination, the echoes of laughter and screams melded into a symphony of chaos, and the NeuroLab welcomed her with open arms. As she disappeared into the darkness, the whispers echoed, Welcome to the NeuroLab. We've been waiting for you. The cycle continued, and the shadows danced, forever searching for new souls to join the dance of madness.